and I'm going to tell you a little bit about our work. So Iceland has a pretty old history of democratic experiments, being sort of a Viking country. We founded one of the world's oldest parliament that is still running in the year 930, and there's been more or less continuous sort of democracy up to a point in Iceland all the way since then. And about 100 years ago, citizens could go and vote every 4 years for the representative, just like today. And they would go often on horseback, or even they would go and even walk. Some people walked for 2 days to get to the voting place. And they would often meet their representatives even in the street. And it was not a lot of people living in Iceland at the time, and there was more closeness, I guess, with the people who were going into parliament. And then time sort of flies. The car becomes popular in the 30s in Iceland, and technology, like everywhere. We have the first computers in the 60s, and access to the web and the internet opened in 1993. And that's actually where I started with my sort of entrepreneurial projects. I started the first internet company in Iceland in 1993, and the first internet company in Denmark in 1995. And but through this whole big technological evolution, which also includes mobile phones and social media, and now AI more and more, our democratic system hasn't evolved very much. We're still voting every 4 years. And in 2008, the financial crisis hit. And it hit many places pretty badly. But it hit Iceland uniquely in a very dramatic way, because Iceland is very small, and the Icelandic government had sort of been supporting building up a big financial sector in Iceland. So we had like a financial sector that was like 11 times the GDP of the whole country. So it was like a huge balloon, much bigger than the whole system of Iceland. And it all came tumbling down. Just in a matter of 10 days, all 3 commercial banks went bankrupt. I remember my grandfather calling me, and he was at the bank, and he was like with a black garbage bag, and he was going to get all his money out. I mean, he's a former taxi driver. He didn't have a lot of money, but he still wanted to get it out. He couldn't. People were afraid that, the ATMs wouldn't work. They wouldn't be able to get that. All the money for everybody was gone. And so people in the country really took to the streets, and with a very sort of strong message of, how could you have let this happen? How could you have sort of let us down in this way? Because, for many reasons. And so this is actually where we start our work. And as a civil society organization, basically with the idea of how can we use the internet to connect citizens and governments together with the aim of taking better decisions, to improving decision making, making it less likely that we'll have a rerun of the fiasco of the financial crisis. And we built open source digital democracy infrastructure that governments around the world and public sector use to connect the citizens. And our goal, obviously, democracy is one of our key goals, but more practically, we want to improve decision making and make government decisions and democratic decisions be up to speed of a world that's really, really moving very fast.